All right. Hey, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to do a sound check right now and see if you can. All right. Let's see here. Come on. Can you hear me?
Sound check right now.
All right. You got me. Great. Well, hello. Long time no see, except for last Sunday. So I wanted to meet with you guys to give you guys an update on some great things that are developing with Christian Warrior Mission. Massive opportunities to get back to what I originally started Christian Warrior Mission to be. So as you guys know, hey, my amazing wife, it's good to see you. We started Christian Warrior Mission when we came to Tennessee. Our whole purpose was to start a Christian ministry that taught men how to be men, and then shortly after how to be masculine, how to defend yourself, how to fight, how to shoot, but always discipling, doing everything in a discipling manner, meaning all under God. And our homesteading lifestyle evolved, and we got him more and more into prepping and everything else. But the other thing is, as biblical IQ rose and clarity came about, we thought coming to the Bible Belt of the buckle of the Bible Belt in Johnson City, Tennessee, that we were going to find fire-breathing churches on every corner. And what we found instead was something very different. And, I'm not here to bash all the churches here. They just weren't what I was looking for. Okay. And we have off and on looked at times, and I started, Christian Warrior Mission to be a ministry, a ministry that was just going to teach dudes how to be dudes, and now women how to be shield maidens, right? And then we evolved into more of a full-time church, right? Even though, as you guys know, I don't have a paid position here or do anything like that. We're just a online church community with a small gathering that happens here. And we're going to stay that. Okay. We're going to stay a home church community. I don't want you guys to think that I'm abandoning you. I will never abandon you. I will always be willing to pastor the flock. But we are going to go from a big C church, not a big church. We were never a big church, and a small ministry to a big M ministry, small church. And what does that look like? So what I realized, and again, you guys remember, I'm new to the whole church community thing. I'm new to the whole thing. Yes, I've been a Christian now since I was 37, and now I'm 53. So somebody do that math for me. But I've traveled, I've been to a few churches, but I've only been like members of a couple churches, or a few churches. And my experience, most of my experiences were bad, except for Park Street Church in Boston, which was like my first real church where I was a member. And then Ken Graves, Calvary Chapel, Bangor, which is where my other church, where I was phenomenal, and I got to see what masculine pastor is like, and the best discipler I've ever seen in Ken Graves. I mean, I just miss Ken every day of my life and love what he had. What he had built there. So we have been doing this now for a few years, where we have been hosting Sunday service, and we tried doing Wednesday and Sunday, and we tried doing a lot of different things here to try to fit in Tennessee. And it's been really hard to fit here, right? It's been really hard. I mean, when you're running a home church out of your, a church out of your home, it doesn't matter online, and that's why we do so well online. But it does matter here. We don't have childcare. We don't have everyone wants coffee and donuts in the lobby and blah, 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 blah. That's not us. And, and honestly, being an entrepreneur, running a church and a ministry and podcast and online Bible study and being a dad and being a husband and running a farm and a homestead and everything else. I just wasn't very good at it. You know, I've had multiple pastors come up to me and say, "Boy, you can really preach." And yeah, maybe I can. I don't know if I can, but and your church should be huge. Your should be way bigger. And I'm just like, well, I suck at running a church. We have a rundown house that we let devolve. I don't have my wife doesn't play an instrument, and my daughters don't sing, and my son doesn't play guitar, and and I get up there and do that. It's me. You're looking at it, better for worse, right? So never really wired for it. And I did my best to kind of hold it down for all the vets that watch me and the cops that watch me to try to fill a need there. But I've always said that you need to plug in to your local church. And what I want Christian Warrior Mission to be is an augment to your local church. It was never meant to be in place of your church. If because of the show you're staying home from church and you're not looking for a church because this is filling it, that was never the intent for it, right? Because I'll tell you, I mean, the only time that might have been an attempt at some point is if you were going to start your own home church, streaming this show, and you were going to have people there around there, and then you'd have fellowship and doing that. So I had fooled myself. I've been doing this for a while now, and yes, it's lonely. And being a pastor is lonely, but it's lonely in a home church compared to a robust, church where you have fellowship and your wife has godly women to hang out with, and your kids have godly kids to hang out with. That's not our experience here, right? Has not been our experience here. So, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but I had fooled myself. And then on last weekend, I went and I was around some Christian brothers, particularly one who I had great fellowship. And I met some others that, we had a lot in common. They're both reformed in their theology, not that that matters, but they are Presbyterians, and I'm considered more Reformed Baptist, 1689 Baptist, which is a term that I didn't even know existed until very recently. That pretty much encapsulates where I stand on a lot of things. But I'm probably even diverged from that because I like modern worship more than I like, the old stuff. So maybe that's one place where I disagree with it. I'm not against it. I've heard some great psalms sung. I'm never going to be against singing psalms. That's biblical. Hymns. I've even heard some decent hymns, but some of them are pretty terrible opinion. And I don't see a difference if you're not singing psalms, which are biblical. You're singing some other dude's music, which is a hymn, right? Well, a hymn is just an old Christian song from that age, from some other dude. It's not holy. It's not whatever. It's just Christian music. It's no different than pick a godly tune that's Christian today. Josiah Queen or whatever, right? It doesn't. And as long as it's God honoring and it's biblical, I don't have a problem with it, right? So, anyways, I go to this. I go to this Christian fellowship, fire, get together. And I didn't know how empty my cup was until I filled it. Being around men, being around guys that I can poke at and, like men do, right? At least masculine men make fun of each other, and they're constantly jousting with their language and having fun and telling jokes and all that stuff. And I had an amazing time. And my wife had an amazing time, and my kids had an amazing time, to where when on the ride home, I decided, I'm like, I can't do this to my family anymore. Can't, keep them here with me on Sundays, because our Sundays are not like most other people's Sundays because I work a job and do all these other things. My Sundays have been get up in the morning and work on my sermon all the way up until it's time to preach. And often I am still buttoning it up 10 minutes before because I take my job serious. And particularly a Sunday service with communion and everything else. And I knew there were people that this was the only church they were going to get. And I tried to do the best job I could do. Right. And I don't know how good of a job I did, but I did the best that I could do for you guys. So things are going to change because of this. We're going to start attending this weekend. We're going to scout out a 1689 Reformed Baptist church that's 30 minutes away. And I don't expect it's going to be the perfect church because the perfect church doesn't exist. We're not a perfect church for anyone. That's for sure. And they're not going to be perfect. But that's what I'm going to go to. And I'm hoping to find like-minded brothers there. And I'm hoping to find a church that's at least not heretical. I just got off the phone. The reason why I'm a little late is I just wrapped up a call with one of the pastors over there who reached out and called to me, which is a good sign. I said, hey, I'm interested, checking you guys out. I put the feelers out to some friends and networked, and someone called me, and that's a great thing. So very optimistic about going there and getting my family around it. Is it going to be probably exactly what I want? No, but it'll be most of the way there. Right. I assume we're probably going to go in there and it's probably going to be old music and people, singing from 15 books, which drives me nuts, but I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping they've got some modern technology and they can at least put it up on a screen. Let me tell you, a screen doesn't make the music evil. Okay. It just makes it easier for people to find where you are and you're not flipping pages and you don't know where you are in the book and 4 lines and all the other madness that goes along with some of the stuff that people refuse to do. But anyways, on the things that matter, we will be on the same page. So what does that mean for a Christian Warrior Mission? What does that mean for you guys? Because let's face it, I've been pretty irregular because I've been working on our online Mighty Networks network a few bit where I poured my heart and soul in. Well, it means that we're changing the days we're doing things on. Okay. Originally, I thought we were going to be doing this on Wednesday. But again, I don't want any churches to be threatened by what we do. I want to work with as many churches as possible to help get their men back to what God wanted them to be. I want to help make churches more masculine and less feminine. I want to equip men and women within that church to be able to disciple and protect, the men to provide and to protect and disciple their families, and the women support them in all that they do. So we are going to do services at 8:30 on Tuesday. Okay. 8:30 on Tuesday. I might end up moving it to 9, even though it's not the most ideal time for some people, just because this house, you guys have no idea how loud it is, like with kids running around here. Any of you who've had a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6.5-year-old at the same time, you have an idea of what that might sound like. And it's 4 feet that way, not even 3 feet that way. And it's on the other side of that door. You see behind me. And it's really hard to think deep, what I would call deep things. Others would probably call very surface things. But it's hard for me to think about things that are important and all that with kids screaming, laughing, crying, thump, thump, and then the cry, and you're wondering if they're really hurt or if this is just boo-boo number 622 for the day. So we're going to do a warrior church on Tuesdays. We're going to start at 8:30 and see if we can do that. but I'm already putting the caveat in there. If my kids can't be quiet before 8:30, then I'm going to bump it to 9. And I'm sorry for already putting that caveat in there, but I'm trusting Lauren with daylight savings time coming up and dark coming an hour early to get the crazy kids calmed down. So we're going to do our service as an augment to whatever church you go to. So if you, whatever church you go to on Sunday, go to it. I don't want to replace it. I can't pastor you like they can pastor you. I'm not there. I'm not there. Okay. But on Tuesdays, if you're local and you want to come to our church service, you're more than welcome to come to our church service. Just text me or email us and you can come. Right. We'll set a place for you and you'll be right over there. Okay. It's going to be way more informal. Okay. It's going to be way more informal. And I'm still working that format out. And luckily I've got 6 days to do it. Right. So on Tuesdays at 8:30, we will be doing our quote unquote, for lack of a better term, until I can come up with something else, our war council, our warrior church, whatever you want to call it, will be going on there. Okay. We are in the process. I just rewrote our entire mission statement to go out onto our website and everything today. That's what I've been working on today. Okay. This was a drop everything thing. You guys know when if you guys have ever written before, you're doing anything, when your brain's working and you keep going. So I'm going to, it's already up. I posted it already up on our Christian Warrior Way Mighty Networks page. If you don't have that, I'm going to put it in chat and text right now. That is where we run everything now. We don't do it in Facebook groups. We don't do any of that stuff. Everyone there just wants to be a wallflower, and wallflowers are okay for a bit, but I want people that want to get in the mud with me. I want people who are going to, going to fight with me and for me and everything else. So here is the link. I'm dropping it in the tab right now. So there you go. And there it is on the screen, which is really long. And it's also, I also put it in, it's also in, it's really long, and I'm sorry about that. I can't do anything about that. It's also in that red banner going across there. So my goal, and those of you who have been to the Mighty Networks page, you can see there's a massive amount of infrastructure that I've been working on. And now I'm going to be updating the website and everything else, is to partner with churches to get men and women who want to live this lifestyle that we're talking about here, right? I'm going to take that down because it's scrolling in the bottom red, who want to do the, not lifestyle, way of life, right? The Christian Warrior way of life, and bring them into community, right? Which is our online community, which is the Mighty Networks page, which is that link, which is a great place to run a network in a community. And then let the magic begin, right? We can start doing events. People, like, if once this grows to a certain level, people will be in the same towns and they can meet up and we can do stuff and they can train together and everything. And then we can start doing regional training events, et cetera, et cetera. Some other things we're doing. We're also looking at doing some stuff with some schools where we're going to be doing discipling and rite of passage training, where boys are no longer just going to turn men at 18. They're going to have a rite of passage that they have to make it through, and things they have to know to be, and then they will be welcomed by men, right? They will go through the ritual and they will be the rite of passage, and then there will be a ceremony where they are named men and they can take a wife, right? And it's our job to equip them to where they can do that. And I'm not saying they have to, but basically that you're a man at 18, right? You're a man at 18. Law says you're a man at 18. But unfortunately, all of our 18-year-olds are still adolescents. They're still boys. We have 35-year-olds that are still boys. But we're going to change that. And we're going to help girls do the same. We're going to start with the men. And then depending on how the traction goes, then we'll go with the girls. Because girls need a rite of passage too. You know, this Christian journey, as I've said countless times, is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And if I don't do it deliberately, I suck at it. And you don't just accidentally become a man because your birthday turns that way. There are things you need to know and things you need to be, and you have to be accountable. You're accountable under the law at that point. You better be accountable to God. Most people, yes, you're accountable to the law at 18 and you're treated as an adult and tried it as an adult. They're still boys when it comes before God, and that is backwards, completely backwards. You better know your eternal fate and be able to deal with your eternal judge before you have to deal with a man judge, right? Man judge here in your court, county, city, whatever, right? So again, our plan and our course now and our mission is we are going to continue doing service just on Tuesdays. It is going to be hyper focused on warrior issues, on man issues, on shield maiden issues as we go through this. We're going to still do our Bible study. Okay, that's going to pick back up here. And we'll be doing our Bible study. And we'll have the online community where in the accountability group there in the Mighty Networks. And, you know, to explain that for those of you who don't know that, which I don't think there's anybody who cares or watches me right now that doesn't know what it is, but basically that's where we fight the 7 battlefields, right? It's where we fight the 7 battlefields, and that's where we hold each other accountable and pour into each other. You know, everything, things that are biblical to things that are health, diet-wise, to financial, to marriage advice, parenting advice, you name it. That's what we do there. We get vulnerable and we help one another. You know, it's not a community for takers. If you want to just come in there and just, you know, not invest in anyone, don't bother. Come in because you want to get better, you want to get more godly, and you want to help other people get. All right. It's also a learning management system. And what that means is that we can host courses in there. So we're going to build our course. We are very experienced with the learning management systems because of Trident Shield, my security training emergency preparedness company. We were one of the first people to bring online active shooter training to the world. We weren't the first, but we were one of the first. And we're going to start doing some trainings on there and some things that we can. Until then, we are going to create playlists. Okay. There's no reason for me to make a video on cleaning a gun. If you don't know how to clean a gun, if I can find one on YouTube, that's good and recommend it to you. Okay. There's no reason for me to make a video on a bunch of common topics where somebody else has done one very well produced that's good. That as long as it's not cussing and anti-biblical, what we're doing, for us not to show that and recommend that. So creating playlists of carpentry, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, farming, firearms in nature. I'm going to start going through and compiling a list that I endorse. I don't know, I might not know much about the person, so I'm not saying I'm endorsing their personal life or whatever, but I can say, hey, this is a great video I'll make something up on how to set up your AR or how to dial in your red dot sight, right? Until we have the resources and time to make our own. And of course we'll make our own, and I'll put my own Jasonisms in there and etc., and do all that stuff. But until then, I want to build playlists, and I'll build them, and they'll be on our page, and where you can come into the Mighty Networks and say, okay, here's your basic carpentry, here's your basic plumbing, basic electrical. Here's how to sight in your M4 red dot sight. Here's how to sight in your Glock red dot sight. Here's how to sight in your laser, et cetera, how to clean this, how to do that. And we're compiling all those things there. Also, how to sharpen a knife for people who don't really know how to sharpen a knife. Or heck, I've been watching some great videos on chainsaws as I was troubleshooting my chainsaw. Right, I had some problems with my Husqvarna 440, and it's been a great resource. So on some farm stuff, we are again attempting to process Karen for the second time tomorrow. So we have a guy coming over who's shot more cows than I have, to help with dispatching, just because she's one of our more feral cows. Like she doesn't want a relationship with us. She's not like the milk cows. She's the last of our feral cows, really. I would say, well, actually her son Sirloin is still kind of really jumpy and stuff, but so just seeing it, like I dispatched Gracie, but because this is a close to 2,000-pound cow, it's worth a lot of money, and I want it to be done right so that the meat is in the best state possible. So a really nice guy named Sean is going to help us do that. He's also letting us borrow his trailer. So that, and then I've got a local farmer here I bought hay from time to time, who's actually coming to help us and lift the cow on there with his big tractor, because we don't have a tractor yet. Getting our tractor this weekend. So that's the other thing, an answered prayer that I told you guys about on Sunday if you watched my service. But we are getting a 1626 Mahindra tractor. We're just picking up the payment. Someone else is getting out of homesteading, and we're going to bless them by taking it off their hands, and they're blessing us by just picking it up. It is one of the smaller tractors. It's only 26 horsepower, but we're going to be able to put a 4-foot bush hog on that, which is all we need to cut our trails here in the yard, cut our trails that we want to cut, and also get rid of the prickly bushes in our fields and all that stuff. So pretty darn excited about it, and really happy to not be a burden on my neighbors again. As far as some things that we're going to be doing with the Christian ministry, our Christian Warrior Mission, starting on Tuesday, is we're going to be dropping into a massive fitness challenge on that day. Trying to motivate people to lose weight, get in shape, and all that stuff. And I'm going to take you through my journey. I'm going to document it the whole way, as ugly as it is, as I come back from my deconditioned state. So be praying for me on that. And I'll tell you everything I'm doing. I'll tell you every supplement I'm taking, and the rest of it. So, and whether it works for me or not. Okay. So going to be completely transparent on that, because that's what this is about. This is about looking your suck in the face, owning it, and changing it. Okay. And I've got a lot of suck that I have to change, just like you do. Okay. So there are parts of that's what makes the 7 battlefields so darn hard. It's so effective, because everybody sucks at one of them or more. And it's an organized way to look at that, to expose where you suck. Right. That's why Proverbs are, like, when you go through the book of Proverbs every month, as you should, for every day, when you look at the book of Proverbs every day, it takes a particular micro niche of your life and puts it under a Bible microscope. And what you're going to see is going to horrify you. You're going to see how out of God's will you are in an aspect of your life that you weren't even thinking about. You were just like, well, I'm not looking at porn. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm doing really good. I'm a good Proverbs. Boom. oh no, I suck at this, and this. I got to work. Like, who am I to think that I'm squared away? I'm not. Right? No one is. Okay. We're all battling something. We all suck at something. That pastor on stage that looks like he's got it together, he's a mess in some part of his life as well. Okay. And that's without exception. All right. Some people who have been deliberately working on this for a long time probably don't suck as much on something. You know, you know, I, they would say if they're godly, they would say they still do, but they've been working on it in a while and they've cleaned up their life. And, instead of sucking 75% in their worst category, maybe they only suck 25% in their worst category. Right. But I have just the hypocrisy of that I've seen out there by people I know and the friend, even people I love, never mind the people I don't know, where their willingness to throw people to the flames and say all kinds of horrible things, and they can't even do the most basic Christian things sometimes. It's just very disappointing. So I'm not gonna even. I'm not gonna say it, but So I just wanted to come on tonight because I told people I was going to come on Wednesday, and I know I said we were going to preach tonight, but we're going to do it on Tuesdays. And I'm trying to find the balance in formality. Trying to find. We weren't the most formal church before. Is it the same as that? Am I sitting down? Am I here where I can have, like, again, I'm a one-man show, guys, right? I don't have a production crew. I don't have a producer. I don't have a sound guy. I don't have a slide person. I don't have anything. So do I do it here where I can bring resources on screen and actually do PowerPoints? So I can teach better? I'm thinking that's the type of things I'm thinking about. So, my answer is I think I'm going to settle somewhere around there. So, again, if you are local, we are still a home church. And if you want to come, just let us know, but it's going to be Tuesdays. So go to your Wednesday night church. If you want to go to your Wednesday night church, definitely go to your Sunday church, right? That's where I'll be on Sunday. Go to your Sunday church, do your communion, get your pastoral care. I can't be your tourniquet like that if you're always going to keep the tourniquet on. You need to take the tourniquet off and get under some more advanced care in person. Okay. So I just wanted to come to you and share this. No one's expecting me on. And I don't think we've had very many people watch or even pop on. It's all good. I just wanted to come to you with that. So God bless you. Love you. And I will see you tomorrow morning. My intent was to do tomorrow morning was to do Bible study, but tomorrow's going to be a farm day. And we're killing a 2,000-pound cow, bleeding her, transporting her an hour away. Got to clean off the trailer, bring it back, and all that stuff. So we'll see. I will do the Bible studies as able, but my intent is to do one every day. I just don't want to be doing them at 11 o'clock at night. I'm hoping that our life is about to chill out. But next week, I am traveling to Ohio to where I am speaking on Friday night, doing a Saturday breakfast, speaking on Saturday night, and then I'm preaching on Sunday. So smokes, got a lot going on, and I got a lot to prepare for. So back noonish, yeah. I'll believe that when I see it. We'll see. But I don't know if you guys have any questions. Lauren, did I miss anything? I know you're watching and there's a delay, so I'll sit here, but that's where we're at. I tend to be praying with you guys every day, the Bible study. And, and again, I'm still going to do my weddings and funerals and everything else to the people who I pastor. But you guys need to get into church. I want to focus on the things that I am best at. I am not best at speaking Hebrew and Greek. maybe I have some small skill at making things complex, simple, and putting them into common speak for you guys. But I promise to still do that on Tuesday. But you guys need to get in church. You need to be filled in person, get around people who are there and be connected. That is important. I I need to repent for not making that as important as it has been, and my family has missed out. So I wanted to just give you guys this right now. I don't know if you guys hear Odin crying, but again, I have the most irritating house on the planet with sounds. It's either a rooster during the day outside my window crowing, the kids screaming, my dogs whining because they either want in or out, or God knows what. But until I get a studio outside of here where I don't hear any of this stuff, you guys got to deal with me. All right. So God bless you, and be patient with me. I know I've let you guys down. I know that you guys are counting on me for Bible studies and all these things and all this, but I'm really trying to build something special here. I'm really trying to build something that's actually going to withstand the test of time, and something that's going to be able to scale and help a lot of people. So, so I ask for you to be patient and give me grace, because God knows I need it. I love you all. Thank you for your support, and I will see you. See tomorrow, Thursday. So hopefully I'll do Bible study tomorrow at an unnamed time. But I want to get back to doing the Bible study in the morning. We'll see how that shakes out. But look for it, and when it's out there. And I know most of you guys watch it later, anyways, because I've got so many. I got cops and truck drivers and EMTs and firemen who all work all kinds of schedules, and most of you guys don't watch this live, anyways. So, so just watch the Bible studies when you can, and we will start seeing you live on Tuesday or on Tuesday night at 8:30. That's when we'll be doing Warrior Church. So see you then. God bless you. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your support.